Hello to you. Well, it's Scott Picken, CEO and founder of Migrate, and I'm here with my beautiful son, Jonty, who is 8 years old, and we are out at the point. It's the most magnificent morning here. We're out for a morning walk, and it is Friday morning, and so it's time for our weekly Wealth Insight. And I thought that this week would be very opportune to talk about generational wealth. One of the things that I find amazing is that particularly in the Anglo-Saxon world, everyone is for themselves. Like all of us start again. We all, go to school, go to university, hopefully, get a good job. We save, we invest, and then we, our next generation starts again. And at best, we try and give our children a better education. If you take the Jewish community, they are always about, uplifting and helping the next generation. If you take the Mediterranean community, the Greeks, etc., it's the same. The Indian community, the Chinese community. And so, families there get wealthier and wealthier. We're doing a lot of business in India at the moment, and there it's all about family wealth and generational wealth. And, we met about 6 months ago, a grandfather who wanted to invest in our company for the primary reason that his grandson, who was in his 20s, he wanted him to be able to get in and learn about the future and learn about business. So it's not just about investing, but actually about empowering their children to go to the next level. It's just a fascinating insight. And why I wanted to talk about generational wealth was, we've done a couple of sessions with Garth Wellman from Calio that has a family office, and, he helps 85 of the wealthiest families in South Africa and America. And one of the primary concerns for wealthy people, most people are just trying to figure out how to make enough money. Most people have more month than there is money. And they can't even focus on saving or investing. And yet, wealthy people, it's about first protecting the wealth, and then secondly about generational wealth, about longevity. And one of the things that I think is so important is actually not just saving for your children or investing for your children, but actually teaching them the habits. So I've got two stories to share with you. The first is this little man who's sitting next to me here. We did a webinar on Wednesday where you can now help your children on our platform invest. So, most of us were taught, Monopoly, or we've tried to read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but there's nothing better than learning while doing. Jonty's been on the platform. He doesn't actually know it yet, but he's been on the platform since he was 5. He's 8 now. And, they always say that it takes 10 to 20 years to build wealth. Well, as you know, Warren Buffett started at 13. So maybe if we can get our children to start earlier, just imagine where they'll be able to go. But that's giving them access. But what's more important is giving them the knowledge, the skills, and the habits. And it was fascinating. Many years ago, about 5 years ago, I was at an event, and Clem Santa was speaking, Dr. Dolph de Roos was speaking, and Robin Banks was speaking. I was also lucky enough to be one of the speakers. And there were about 200 people in the room. And I noticed across the 200 people, they were all adults except for 3 children. And it was so interesting because it was a Thursday morning. And I remember going up to the dad and saying to the dad, it's so interesting. Everyone else here is an adult, but there's 3 kids. And the father said to me, it's really interesting because what could they learn at school today that would be more valuable than learning from these 3 people, as in Clem Santa, Robin Banks, and Dr. Dolph de Roos. And I thought, what an amazing mindset, because most people are just like, they must go to school, that's what the school tells them, those are the rules. And yet it was the complete opposite. It was like, let's future-proof them, let's train them. And as an example, this gentleman's daughter started learning about exponential technologies, and studied it in South Africa, and then went to America and studied it further. And when she graduated about 2 years ago, where most graduates can't get a job, she was offered, and don't quote me exactly, but it was something like 11 jobs, and ended up working directly for the CEO of Capitec, which is a major bank, up-and-coming bank. And it just shows you how you can future-proof your kids and give them the knowledge, the skills, and the habits. That same family, I remember, the kid came and did some, we were like sitting in a pool, and he came and gave us some beers, and we thought it was really cool. And then he charged us for it. And I thought, wow, like how's that for entrepreneurial mindset? We didn't have money at the time, and so we paid him later, and we offered him rands or dollars. And we offered him, you know what it sounds like. Do you want 200 rand or do you want sort of $20? And he took the $20. And he was about Jonty's age at the time, 8, 9 or 10. And I just thought it's fascinating that he already had a concept of the difference of value in dollars compared to rands. And so my challenge to you is, what are you doing to empower your children? What are you doing to educate them? What are you doing to teach them the knowledge, teach them habits? And there's no point in just giving them the theory. None of your children learn to swim or even walk by reading a book. At the end of the day, they had to get up and get going themselves. And so I encourage you to come on the Wealth Migrate platform. You know, buy them the starter pack and get them started, get them learning. You know, I can't wait to get this little man where him and I are sitting there and actually going through the habits of investing, the habits of wealth, the habits of reinvesting, the habits of compounding. And that's what the generational wealth is all about. And that's how we will be able to emulate the cultures of the Indians, the Chinese, the Jewish community, and get the results that they get as they just generationally get wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. That's my challenge to you. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. We want to solve one of the greatest challenges on the planet. We can't do it on our own, and we need to collectively do it. And the only way we're going to do it is by inspiring people and sharing the knowledge. And so I really encourage you to please share it. Any final comments from this little monkey, this little 8-year-old with this beautiful view?
5 minutes.
This is a 5-minute video. Anything else you want to say? Nope. Okay, well,
Happy birthday to Will.
Happy birthday to Will, who's Jonty's first cousin. Have an awesome week from a most magnificent morning here in Knysna. I hope that inspired you, and I hope that if nothing else, it gives you something to think about on how to empower your children, or if you don't have children, empower someone who's important to you.
It's already my birthday, it's past.
Cheers.